So somebody asked me, how different are they really? So let's answer the question. All right, well, somebody asked me about how the Koken sockets compared to the Z series compared to their regular series, which have the RMS part numbers instead of the Z part numbers. And this is my 3/8 inch set. I kind of like to have a spare set of sets. I've got a lot of spare sets of sockets. I actually bought this for part of the shootout that I haven't managed to get yet. Holidays had a little bit of a family health emergency that distracted me from getting the ratchet and socket comparison done. But so this I can accomplish pretty quickly. So let's have a look at the 10 millimeter and the 17, just to kind of give, at least for a BMW guy like me, the things you use a lot in terms of sizes and their differences. So, by the way, first thing you'll notice is the Z series comes on this pretty nice magnetic socket. And the regular series comes on this okay metal socket rack. So not a giant fan of the rack. Sockets seem fine. Love this one. But anyway, so on the sockets themselves, you can see just how significantly shorter the Z series 3/8 inches 10 versus 10 and 17 versus 17. Now, to give you kind of some outer bounds on what those look like versus some of their competitors, here's an Icon 17. So closer to the regular Koken. Here is a Tekton 17. So pretty close to the Icon and maybe very close to the Koken. And then Snap-on is actually slightly shorter than the Icon, and that bears out the same really with the 10 millimeter as well. Maybe a little closer grouping. Oops. So you can tell how well I'm ready to do this. So, the Tekton sockets in 3/8 tend to be long. I really consider these kind of it's the shorter side of a mid-length socket because the Icons and Snap-ons were so much shorter, but look at how much shorter the Koken Z series is, significantly shorter. It's not quite as dramatic between everybody else and or I guess between everybody else, unless you're talking about the Z series where it's substantially shorter than its, regular series Koken brother. So let's talk real briefly about build quality. I mean, people give Snap-on the, absolute crown for quality. And I would tell you, I don't know how to test that. I mean, I've seen people do metal hardness testing, which I don't think is a terrific measurement of how durable, because the design is going to have some give depending on how they do the walls and the overall construction of the socket. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about trying to do hardness testing and weights and things like that. But I will tell you this, the SK of them all feels the beefiest, both kind of it engages very aggressively. It feels very heavy. It's definitely heavier than the rest of these guys here. I kind of have the same feeling a little bit about the Koken. Even though it's very small, it's very dense for its size. I haven't used this one in anger yet. Neither of the Kokens actually yet, but I do feel like they are nicely made. So, and to be honest, of all of these that I have out, so I've got SK made in USA, Koken, the other Kokens off camera, the Icon and the Snap-on. Of all of them, the Tekton's the only one that kind of feels retail, I guess I'll call it. But I have used my Tekton sockets a ton, and they've always been fine. So I'm not so sure you know, the one that took me the least out of my bank account are the Icon and the Tecton. The ones that feel the beefiest are the Koken and the Made in USA SK, with the snap-on a hair, and the Icon for that matter, a hair behind. I don't think there's a lot of qualitative difference here in practice. Now, I've seen some YouTube videos where people put an Icon socket, like an eTorx bolt, that isn't a metric size, and they break the Icon, and they also, by the way, ruin their snap-on, although the snap-on did remove the fastener. I don't think that's proof of very much, other than maybe the lifetime warranty those guys offer, because, you know, these things are designed for very specific stresses, and if you're not using them for what they're designed for, I don't think any kind of torture test is really worth it. So having used, you know, the Tecton the most, I've used the snap-on and the Icon quite a bit also. These are all great sockets. I have no problem with any of them. I'm crazy. That's why I've wound up with so many sockets, and there's actually a newer Made in China SK lurking somewhere around here too. I need to do that shootout, I know. And a Sunex set I've had forever. That's, you know, only okay. Sunex makes great impacts, in my opinion, but not so much chrome. But they're fine. They've worked fine. So that's it. Just a real quick, like, what they feel like in your hand, and a sort of very non-scientific thought on quality. What I think is a little bit funny is how there isn't a lot of attention paid to having the sizes right on the 90 degrees so you can see it really well when you put it back in your rack. You know, it's kind of ticked to one side. Some are pretty straight on, some aren't. I don't know why. I find that kind of amusing. So anyway, that's the real quick look at Koken Z series, their standard series, versus Icon, snap-on, and Tecton. So as always, thanks so much for watching. If you like this, please subscribe and like. And if you got any questions, I'd be thrilled to answer them. It's one of the good reasons to do a video. So thanks, and stay messy.